of the CDC, and he has been greatly assisting that department, and by extension assisting the Council of Elders. So I want to sincerely thank him, and even as I hand over, my head is lifted up, nikijua ya kwamba the challenges that we have mentioned, Elder Mumba will be able to fix. He will not be able to read as a person, but atasaidiwa na other elders, as a council, the way we have been coordinating, so that he may be able to fix what we did not achieve. Therefore, it is my prayer that our good Lord will help him to achieve all the plans of the church during his period of performance for the year that is 2021. Kwa hivyo, even as I sign this document, I wish to request Elder Mumba to stand up so that I may be able to hand over this small folder. It's the one which contains most of the plans that we had, and it's also an indication of those that we achieved and those ones that we did not achieve. Therefore, as I hand over to him, we will be able to take them over, and with the assistance of the Council of Elders and you as the church membership, I want to believe that we will be able to achieve them. Ikiwa tunamtegemea Mungu wetu, ataweza kufaulu. I want to rest my case. God bless you, and God continue giving you as you give, so that his work can be completed. His plans can be achieved, and not only being achieved, but achieved on time. God bless you. Therefore, I formally hand over the head leadership to Elder Mumba for 2021. God bless you.
Happy Sabbath. Mungu ni mwema na siku zote. Nataka kushukuru uongozi ambao mmekuwa nao for the last 2 years. It is through cooperation vitu zinaweza fanywa kwa sababu ya utukufu wa Mungu. Hakuna credit tutapata. Companies, organizations work towards making huge profits. Lakini kwa Mungu, utukufu ndio kitu ya maana, na faida yetu ni kurithi ufalme wa Mungu. Hatufanyi kazi hii kwa sababu ya sifa za ulimwengu huu. Hatufanyi kazi hii ili tupate sifa kutoka kwa binadamu, bali tu utukufu mregelee Mungu peke yake. Working with and through others itatusaidia. Zaidi ya yote, kwa maombi, nilipoambiwa nimechaguliwa first church elder, nilifikiria sana nikatae. Hii mzigo nitabebacha. But I remember the words of Jeremiah. Alipokuwa anaambiwa akasema, I do not know how to speak. Sijui nitafanya nini. Aliambiwa, nilikujua wewe even before you were conceived. Tushikane mkono, tuombeane ili tuweze kufanya kazi ya Mungu, na utukufu na sifa ziweze tumeweza kumrudishia Mungu. Tunaweza sema ilikuwa hivi. Kwanza mahubiri ya leo amenigusa sana. Unataka kuwa which class of Christian? Naomba tuombe sana tuwe first class Christians. Tuseme na kufanya nini? Na kutenda. Kama wewe si mhubiri, usaidie kwa kutoa. Kama wewe huwezi kwenda, ufanye nini? You are part of this body of Christ. Watu wanakufa kwa sababu ya corona, kwa sababu of failure ya kidney. Miguu iko, macho iko, lakini si wanakufa. So you are an important part of Christ's body katika hii kazi tunayofanya. Kwa hivyo ushirikiano ule Elda amesema pia tushirikiane kwa mwaka huu. My strongest weakness ni kwamba when we agree to do something and we don't do it, huwa inipi amani. Tukija tusimame hapa mbele tuseme tunaahidi tutafanya na isipofanyika, it is my weakest point. Ni ile tukipitisha kitu tufanye, Mungu atusaidie tuweze kufanya na Mungu aweze kuwabariki.
The next department is PM. Kindly PM outgoing.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. This is the PM report for the year 2020 when we took over the office together with Elder Muma as the secretary of the PM Council. Mwaka ulianza vizuri, lakini kukatokea changamoto kidogo ambazo kila mtu alifanya nini? Ali-experience. But what we thank God is that we have been able to achieve the few
Okay, I'll be advised to use this one. Now, the year began with good plans as the PM Council, but due to COVID-19, we were affected in terms of what we had planned in the year. But what we thank God is that what we were able to achieve, we achieved, and what we were not able due to unavoidable circumstances, we hand it over to the new team, which is coming in 2021, to be able to achieve them. Therefore, this one, when we began the year, we had the TMI coming, where we had guests. One of the guests was our speaker today, and the other one was from Jamaica, and the TMI was supposed to be carried at one of our centers in Mindizini, where we had a budget. We were able to finance so that it can begin on March as at 14th. And as a church, we were able to raise 79,680. And the expenses which we incurred in preparation for that particular TMI was 24,106. But the church also, during that particular period, borrowed 14,000 from the same kitty, 233. Meaning the amount we have as the TMI account, which is waiting for that TMI to end because we only had 2 days of the TMI and it was suspended. Public gatherings were suspended because of Corona. That particular kitty now has 38,339. If the church refunds the 14,000 it borrowed, the particular kitty to initiate the next TMI will be having 55,574. We had the camp meeting, which was a success, although the planning was just in a short period, but we were able to realize our expenses, and the camp meeting, both the children camp meeting ended successfully, and the adult camp meeting, which was partly physical and virtual, ended successfully with an expenditure of 182,637. All the camp was a success because of your dedication and your giving, and we were able to have our camera with us, and the streaming was enabled for the members who could not be able to reach in the church. In the year, we have had 12 members added to the church. We had the ECD crusade, we had 2 members, and the station we just ended, we added 10 members. Therefore, it's a total of 12 members. Sabbath programs, where also PM runs the program, we have been able to reverse the tradition of finishing the service at 1 or 1:30, and we were able to finish in time. The latest we finished on average was 12:40. Therefore, I thank the departmental heads, the elders, for ensuring that we began on time and finished a program on time. The other issue, which has been a success, with introduction of departmentals in the afternoon to avoid lunch meetings. The departmental were a success in terms of youth and ladies, but in AMO, it seems to be a weakness. It seems men were just eating and going without waiting the afternoon program, because you could find that in the AMO, you could have elders and the AMO leader, but other members, other men were missing in action. But ladies and the youth were able to have their meeting successfully for 1 hour. Ambassadors also were missing because from their leader to the ambassadors. Ambassadors could be seen in church, but they had no meeting. Therefore, I urge the leadership coming in 2021 to be able to take king on that. Another case on that, there are those ones who are a few, they could be in church in the afternoon, but they cannot come into church. Others graduated because we had a restriction, you cannot be within the compound. Wengine walikuwa wanaenda kule nje kukoa na mikatona, because that one is beyond our control within the gate. What I urge you, the Sabbath, if you have come to the Sabbath, just be here, and if you cannot be, just go home. Because when you call for somebody for a meeting who was planning to be here, therefore you end up missing much, especially the person who has been influenced to attend to such particular meetings. Sabbath school, due to effect of Corona, and our Sabbath school head was unable to be here. It was partly a success, but being run by PM, what we urge the new leaders coming in to be able to take up the role. And what we were able to have lesson panels, what was observed that it was male dominated. It was male dominated. Therefore, what we urge, more ladies come up and join the lesson teachers team so that you can be able to teach the lesson. Another thing which we achieved is after defined meetings, which is discouraged, but also there were those ones which were necessary to come in. Like today, there is men are meeting and ladies are meeting. And also Chuda is meeting. What I request Chuda to meet after the meeting, because the members in the ladies and the members in AMO are the members of Chuda. Therefore, I request you meet after that particular program. We had a challenge in music, especially choristers, and our church choir was missing in action through the year. What we request is that in the year coming, we need to have more singing and good singing. Therefore, I used to harass some members to come to chorister, yet they are not church choristers, because the church choristers are missing, the music reader is missing. What we urge is that the year we are coming to, the church choristers who have been appointed be on time, and always choristers should be on time, first to eat and first to come to begin the program. Now, the other challenge we had is on Sabbath, especially elders having impromptu meetings. What I urge is that elders, let's utilize our time through the week to have our meetings, to avoid Sabbath meetings, because Sabbath meetings delays the program. Therefore, that's what I urge you to be able to comply on that, because time is necessary, time is money, and it's costly when it's wasted. And the other thing, the other challenge we had in that particular period is that the committee was formulated just 2 months to the meeting. What I urge that the new leadership through Elder Muma initiate the meeting to begin as early as January, to plan to be able to access the speakers, maybe acquire and budgeting area. Therefore, we thank the members who took the initiative and were available during the programs. During the period, the church was only open to program participants and those ones who came up whenever you were called. We thank you so much for the cooperation to ensure that the programs were running from the PM Council. That's what I urge you. A recommendation I need to give is that the next PM coming, Elder George, who has an experience in this department, elders and pastors' office, do not forget PM runs the program through in the church. Therefore, when you have a meeting, especially Sabbath meetings, and you need to have a program running, you interrupt the program which has been planned earlier. Therefore, when you plan, always inform the PM so that they can slot you in the program to ensure that the time there is time for everything instead of what? Crashing in. Therefore, the other issue is what I urge in the year 2021, another recommendation is the emergency charge boards were so much this year, and members, you can attest. Therefore, and these ones were affecting the Sabbath program. And that particular emergency charge board could take even 1 hour, and it was on Sabbath, therefore interrupting the program. And one Sabbath you found that the members sang for more than 1 hour, 20 minutes singing, waiting for the emergency charge board to end for the program to continue. What I urge that let's have the days of the charge board being taken in to avoid many emergencies coming through the year. Therefore, that was what we did, and that was achieved as the PM Council. I now invite the incoming PM leader. I will be the secretary. I thought I could be out, but again, I'm entangled in. Therefore, I hand over the report with all the expenses and others, and other materials will be provided through electronic, but I will be able to give you the file officially when we will be sitting in our first council. Thank you so much.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. I don't have much to say. I just want to appreciate the fact that God has given us opportunity to serve, and I pray that God will help us serve. This docket entails coordinating the departments of the church and also mobilizing the whole church in evangelism. How I pray, my wish is that this year, the year coming 2021, we will try as much as possible to have at least one evangelistic campaign in whatever form, in addition to the personal outreach that each and every department and each and every individual is encouraged. And to that effect, I do request as we start that as you bring your plans as departments, as you will be bringing your plans so that we can put the program for the whole year, please suggest, at least in your plan, you should have at least a program of reaching out. Every department, you should have a plan of reaching out in your whatever form that you will be. That will be my encouragement, and I hope we will follow that. All in all, tushirikiane katika kufanya kazi ya Mungu. Na Mungu atubariki.
Thank you so much, Elder. So let us try to moderate our speech, especially the next one. Let's try to be a bit brief because I can see the church is becoming almost empty, and you cannot hand over to an empty church. We have to have witnesses. So let's try to moderate. I promised 30 minutes past that. So Amo is the next. Amo, and then Health is following. So let's try to be a bit brief.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath. Happy day. I just want to take the opportunity to thank God for giving us life up to this moment. We started the year well as a club, and we did a registration of about 30 members. We had plans kama Amo ambao tulikuwa na plans za outreach. Tulikuwa na plan ya kuenda kuvisit our brother Mwachio ambao alipelekwa kule sehemu za Marzeras kama mwinjilisti. Pili, tulikuwa na plans by May tulikuwa tuende visitation in one of our prisons, and all these plans tulipanga kama binadamu, lakini kwa sababu ya jambo ambalo lilitokea katikati hatukuweza kukamilisha hayo yote. The achievements ambao tuliweza kufanya kama club ni mbili ambao tuliplan. Tulirun a Amo Sabbath, and then tuliweza kurun Amo Week of Prayer ambayo ilikuwa successful katika mwaka wa 2020. In our club tuko na mpangilio ya kwamba tusiweze kuomba msaada ya kifedha katika treasury ya kanisa. So our generating our income generating ways of getting money is through our weekly contributions, ambapo wakati tulisimamisha mikutano na hatukuwa tunakuja kanisani, hatukuweza kuendelea for the whole year. So that was a challenge ambayo haikuweza ambayo ilifanya hatukuweza kuendeleza shughuli zetu kama club mpaka mwaka umeisha. As we leave or as we end the year, in our Amo account tuko na 35,500 ambao tumefunga nayo mwaka, Hiyo pesa ni pesa ya outreach, sio pesa ya matumizi katika shughuli za hapa tukiwa hapa ndani. So kwa ofisi ambayo itaingia, tuko na account ya 35,000. Ikiwa itafikia tunaenda kwa outreach mahali popote, tuko na kitu ya kuanzia shughuli zetu katika mwaka ambao unakuja 2021. Challenges ambao tumekuwa nayo katika mwaka huu ni kwamba, as you can see even now in our church, I cannot explain where men are. They seem to be the most affected na hii pandemic. Wanaume wengi mpaka sasa hawajarudi kanisani. I think the leadership ambayo inaingia mwaka huu, tutajaribu tuangalie if we can plan for a visitation, ili tutafute wazee. Boma ambao haina wazee ni boma ambao inalala. So tutafuta wazee, tujue mahali wako, na ikiwezekana wazee ambao wako, tafadhali tuungane pamoja ili tuweze kushika mikono kanisa letu, tuweze kutembea kwa pamoja. As we leave, tulikuwa na mwenzetu ambaye alikuwa chini na amekuwa na tatizo kwa sababu ya kazi. Tulikaa kama wanaume na tukaelewana ya kwamba we had a project ya kumboost na pesa ambayo inakadiria 35,000 ili aweze kuanzisha biashara, because tunavyojua katika nyumba zetu, mwanaume kama hana mapato, hiyo nyumba haiendi sawa, si ndio? So we had that project, and that is why nilikuwa nimeita Amo this afternoon that we want to finalize that project, so that tunapovuka mwaka huyu mwenzetu awe na mapato ama awe ameanza biashara kumudu katika familia yake. Kama sio hivyo, naomba Mungu aweze kuwabariki, and I want to appreciate the leadership ambao tumeshirikiana pamoja kuanzia hapo mpaka sasa. Kama sio hivyo, Mungu aweze kuwabariki. Na hand over all the books ambao ni za Amo for the incoming leadership. So it is handed over to me again. What I would pray ni kwamba Mungu aweze kutusaidia, mtuweze kutusaidia kwa maombi, ili ushirikiano huo uweze kuendelea na Mungu aweze kuwabariki.
Thank you. The next is the health department, kindly.
Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Okay, in health department, there's nothing much. Okay, it's all about our health, but okay, we had plans when we started the year. We have like 3 months in a year where we are supposed to do health awareness. So I thank God that we started the year well, but around March, you know what happened, and we are not allowed to come to church, and everything we know what happened. So like in May, we were not able to hold the drug awareness month. But we had 2 Sabbaths. On November 28th, we had the Health Sabbath. It was about HIV awareness, and we had a guest who is Amere. And then today, this week from 12th December to 19th, we had a health week of prayer, and which was climaxed today. And we thank God that it was a success. Another thing that I want to thank God is, we all know about the COVID that came. We had to do some, with the coordination with deaconry, the elder council, you saw the measures that we had to take, like putting up the windows was part of the MOH requirement that it had to be a well-ventilated place if you have to worship. And I thank the leadership and the members too for your contribution, because we achieved that. At least we are able to worship. And also the sinks, when you come in, you see the thermogun that you have to be taken our temperatures. All that was in cooperation of all the departments, so that you are allowed to worship. Otherwise, if you didn't do that, you could not be allowed to worship, because we had to meet the requirements. So I thank the department and the leadership that enabled that, because as you know, in the health ministry, we don't have a way of generating money. We depend on the church budget. So I thank all the departments for the cooperation that they did, so that we're able to meet the requirements. And the only thing that I can say is I want to thank the church for the cooperation. Even despite all that, every time we are here encouraging you to put on your mask, sit the way you're supposed to sit. At first it was like mnasumuliwa, but I thank God that you've cooperated and we all realized the reason why we have to do what we have to do. So I thank you so much for your cooperation, and I pray that we continue this until normalcy is back, so that when we'll be sitting the way we are supposed to sit normally. But I pray that we'll maintain this, God willingly. Otherwise, thank you all for your cooperation.
Happy Sabbath. I want to thank God for this opportunity to work in this department. And to start with, I'd like to note that I was never handed over to. I did not get anything, but I managed to bring together a team. And just to explain, this is a department that is within the Seventh-day Adventist Church that has the responsibility of planning for worship and spiritual soul-winning activities within public campuses. You know, public campuses belong to the government. So the church introduced this department to see on a way of nurturing students who may be found there who are Adventists, and even winning others who are not Adventists. Within our church, our jurisdiction is within Kenya Medical Training College and Kenya Coast National Polytechnic. And our achievements for this particular year are this. We managed to successfully constitute a public campus ministry council for the very first time that brought together church PCM officials, the leaders of KC and PSDA, KMCSDA groups, and which was also supposed to include the Family Life SDA youth leader, but at that particular time, the church had not chosen one. And that way, cooperation between the institutions and the church was made better. We planned for half-year program of events that was running from January to June, which combined the church events and the students' events according to their semesters and terms. We also managed, with the help of the church, to host preaching guests who were coming to the institutions for 2 weeks, KCNP Week of Prayer, that took 2 weeks. We thank the church that we managed through the leadership to host for them their guests. You know, they are students, they don't have anywhere to put their guests, and so the church offered that particular ability. All the planned events for the Sabbaths were carried out successfully until the onset of the COVID-19 in March 14th. And we also managed to successfully plan a joint Sabbath for the institutions on January 25th, 2020. We also managed to assist KMTCSDA groups in upgrading and repairing their PA system. The challenges we face as a department are the following. Finances for planning events and facilitation of different speakers for the institution's programs are limited. So sometimes they are not able to achieve their purposes because they don't have much money. Number two, there were attitude issues on the side of the student leaders. Somehow they felt that the church interferes with their programs. And that is because of some past things that happened. For instance, service request procedures that were not honored. They felt like they were failed because they proposed their service request, but they were never sent to those who were supposed to minister to them. And such attitudes affected the openness of the student leaders in consulting the church leadership. So sometimes they don't wish to consult because of that. Another challenge was the spiritual level of students, especially KMTC. Most of them are new students. Their spiritual level is still down. They need a lot of teachings. And finally, the biggest challenge of all, COVID-19 brought to a halt all the activities of this department. As we know, the institutions were not operating, and once they came back, entry into the institutions is restricted. And therefore, probably we hope next year it will resume. Our recommendation as a department is the following. The department to continue operating using a well-constituted council. It has operated in a different way previously, and therefore there has been nothing organized. We recommend that as it proceeds, the incoming leadership takes over and ensures that the council continues to operate. That way there is unity between the institutions and even within the church and the institutions. Number two, a proper revenue sharing formula to be adopted by the church and the institution groups that allows for checks and balances. Somehow the institutions feel like they give all their offerings and their tithes to Family Life SDA Church, and they have nothing to operate on. And so I propose that the church leadership, as it's coming in, a proper formula should be formulated to see that whatever they need also, they are also able to cater for their needs on the other side. Number three, emphasis to be placed on spiritually nourishing teachings, not just formality programs within those institutions. Number four, the church to clearly assist in service request matters. Let them not fail because somehow they did not want to consult us this year on the service request because of a previous failure previously. So I propose that as the leadership, you look into that. We also recommend that the church be in the front line through the PCM leadership in reestablishing worship services once the institutions are back, simply because we know COVID has affected the way people are worshiping and their morale to even worship. Lastly, we recommend that there is a PCM weekend that is usually slated by the General Conference in October. For the last 2 years, it has not gone very well. We propose that if possible, in the coming year, it be allowed because it is usually a gathering of the church and the institutions together for a weekend. That is from Friday to Saturday and even to Sunday. Lastly, I'd like to appreciate that God has led us this far and has allowed us, even despite the challenges, to achieve the little we are able to achieve. And secondly, I'd like to thank the church and the elders for the support they gave us through the period and in ensuring that the institutions are able to run successfully. Thirdly, I'd like to appreciate all the student leaders in their cooperation. And lastly, I'd like to also appreciate those who went into their pockets individually, because I know KMTCSDA approached you individually, and some of you supported them in upgrading their PA system. May God bless you for that. In conclusion, I'd like to thank all of you and invite every one of us to support this particular department. And may God bless you. I'll now hand over to the elder. He will hand over when the time comes to whoever is coming in.
Thank you very much. The last one is choir. Choir, the incoming and outgoing, if you are there, you come.
Good afternoon. Happy Sabbath. Okay, we want to thank the Lord so much for this opportunity He's given us to be able to do this today. As a choir department, we began the year very well, and we managed to register 34 members into the choir. And we had a number of programs that we had planned to achieve within the year. And one of them was we were to have an in-reach activity, which involved a music extravaganza. Secondly, we were also planning to ensure that by the end of the year, by God's grace, we were able to acquire a new set of uniform for the choir members. And we were also hoping to be able to get external teachers who could help us to come up with new songs, and also the internal trainers who could help us also to polish the existing songs. So, as I've already mentioned, we began well, and our first activity that we were able to do was we were able to attend the KCF music event, which happened on the 15th of March this year. And as we all know, that actually was the last meeting we had, the last physical meeting we had before COVID-19 set in. So from then, we were actually home for about 5 or 6 months, and we resumed our physical meetings again later on in the year, towards late July, actually when we were doing preparations for the camp meeting. So during all those 5 or more months, we were not able to meet physically because of reasons that we all understand. And so even our practice sessions and the plans that we have for the year were greatly affected. So we were able to attend the camp meeting, though we didn't deliver to our expectations, definitely because of the little time that we had to firm up the practices in preparation for the same. So apart from that, we also had things that we were not able to achieve because of the challenges that existed during the year. And one of them is we were not able to actually have the enrich program of having the music extravaganza, because the time that it had been scheduled to take place was the time when we were all at home and we were not able to meet, so we were not able to bring together all the choirs and have them here for the event. We were also not able to get the new set of uniforms for the choir members, but I want to believe that the incoming leadership, with the cooperation of the members, will be able to achieve that. Now, some of the challenges that we met during the year as a department is one, actually our greatest challenge was the COVID-19, which made physical meeting to be a challenge. And then we also realized along the way that we were having some clashes with some departments, because, okay, as the PM department normally arranges for every department to have the time, there are times when we had like the children's department meeting from this time to this time, and then the choir department meeting was following up. So there are several occasions where we would find that the choir meeting time is already on, and the children's department is still going on, and they're the same members. So we had a bit of a clash on that, but we were able to talk to the leadership. Hopefully that will not be a problem to the incoming leadership. So basically, what I would say is we thank God for the little that He enabled us to do, and we pray that by His grace, He will enable the incoming leadership to be able to take up the mantle and be able to serve the Lord in this department. And may the Lord bless you. Hand over to the incoming choir director, Mrs. Eunice Ochieng.
Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Sina mengi ya kusema, yote yamesemwa, na hatutaki kusema ya kwamba kazi haikufanywa kwa sababu tulikuwa na ulegevu. Ni kwa sababu ya corona hatukuweza kufanya hiyo kazi ya uimbaji. Kwa hivyo naalika kila mwana family life, kila mshiriki wa family life aone ya kwamba amejiunga katika hii idara ya uimbaji ili tuweze kumfanyia Mungu kazi. Mbarikiwe nyote.
Thank you very much. I think we come to the end of this handing over exercise for now. We are late. We are going to break for 1 hour, so we are congregating after 2:30. 2:30 tutakutana kwa vipindi vya mchana, and I am appealing to those departments ambazo siko ready for handing over. We might create some time so that they can do the handing over. Wamuone Kevin Ondiek so that they can give him their department, the name of the department, so that they can be slotted in the afternoon. Otherwise, wale ambao watabaki next Sabbath tutakuwa na Holy Communion, na kawaida ni kwamba Holy Communion, after Holy Communion we break kabisa, but we will create time for the remaining departments just shortly after the Holy Communion so that they can hand over, and then we break. Kwa hivyo Mungu aweze kuwabariki. Wacha tukutane after 2:30 as we prepare for the next departments. Tuombe. Baba na Mungu wetu, tunasema ni asante kwa nafasi ambayo umetupatia. Tulipoanza kipindi hiki tuliomba ya kwamba uweze kutuongoza. Tuko hapa kushukuru kwa sababu umetutandia hivi. Najikabidhi mkononi mwako kwa vipindi ambavyo vitafuata. Kristo tunajua utatutendea. Kuwa nasi sasa hata milele, ni katika Kristo tumeomba na kuamini. So let's meet after 2:30.